Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic extravaganza. Hope everyone's doing good. I have been, again, watching a ton of new movies. I just recently got some late birthday presents from a good buddy of mine, and I was kind of blown away by it. I'm like, this guy knows me too well. Like, it's always cool when you have a friend or somebody in your life that you know where you kind of get each other and you kind of understand each other's tastes and you just really connect on a lot of things. And when you have that with someone, which is pretty rare, I think. I don't think it's you know a super common thing. At least for me, when you do have that, it's such an awesome thing because you can share all of these ideas around that, and there's a an intimate thing that goes on that's unique about it, and it's a little bit of a different kind of kinship or friendship because of that. At least that's how I feel. And so before I get into the movie review, today's topic, I've been of course still been doing a ton of videos here on my channel, but I've been kind of changing up things. It's a funny thing. I go back and forth a lot with social media, and it is what it is. There's on one hand, it's like I kind of just feel on one hand I feel like it's just really dumb and impersonal, and then on the other hand I feel, well, when I become aware of events or things that I want to see or hear or just in general, that's how I hear about these things, different events, and I like, to hear about an event that might have passed me by, or a show, or a movie that's coming out, or what have you. And of course, being a musician and stuff, it's essential to use it because of, for promotional uses. You can't really go without it. But a lot of times I get frustrated with it, but I try to keep it as a thing of where, okay, I can understand both sides of it, at least for me. I think overall it is a really valuable resource. But it's a funky thing, and a lot to do has a lot to do as far as when you're a fan or consumer of media like I am. Everything kind of plays on these algorithms, and so it's kind of a strange thing, but it's how it works. It's how this machine works, and if you gravitate towards like looking at or certain kinds of videos, whether they're about a particular band or a particular film or a director, you get obviously you get uh, notifications of that stuff through algorithms and all those things. So things are really policed, and it's kind of a strange thing, and it is what it is. But it's I overall feel it's a good, valuable tool for people who are fans of media in general. But so, but recently I had, and I still can't figure out. I'm destined. I'm gonna eventually try to figure it out. I've just part of me is just kind of giving up on it. I know I need to get it done, and I just it's one of those things. I have spent a lot of time trying to figure out why on my own. But about 3 or 4 weeks ago, my um, I had a page on Instagram, my main film fanatic, which is my movie page. I have three movie pages or sites, if you will. I have this page here, my film fanatic. This is my main page right now, or channel. This has been my main thing for a while. But I have this. I have um, a Facebook page, a film fanatic Facebook page, and then I had a main at Film Fanatic Instagram page for a while. And then the other thing that I also use my personal page, and then I also have an administrator for another page on Facebook, which is a movie page. So I have like basically four pages that I am running at the same time, or that I help to run. More or less, I run them. The three of them are the pages that I've been running, and it's a lot of fun. And it's at times it's a lot of work. And when it starts feeling like it's a lot of work, I kind of just back off from it because it's really a passion project. If I at some point generate, I'm not really interested. I mean, yeah, if you want to, who doesn't want to make a little extra money on things? Sure, that would be cool. If eventually I get to a place of where I can have this Patreon thing and actually make money off of it, sure, that would be cool. But at the end of the day, honestly, I don't really care about that. I don't really care about, I love film. I love everything that it entails. That's all I'm kind of riding on. If anything, like I ride, my passion around it, or my love for film and cinema is, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and that's really the only reason I do any of this shit. That's it. That's the only motivation, because I just love doing it, and I feel like it's a positive outlet, and it's a lot of fun, and I have I've had a lot of really awesome, cool experiences through doing this. I've met a lot of interesting people online. I've covered lots of, I think, lots of cool movies. I have done some very cool interviews with some folks through this channel, and that's something I eventually want to do. But I don't look at it as a business, and maybe that's part of the problem. But so about 3 or 4 weeks ago, my Facebook or my Instagram page got shut down on Instagram, and I can't for the life of me figure out why. I can't even log on to it, and it's essentially that page is the same thing as really every other page. I don't really post many videos on there, but I basically, when I do a show, I usually do a video of something, of a movie I have discovered, or that I've seen again, or that I bought, and then I post it. But then I also, with that, typically do a regular post with like a thumbnail photo, or the artwork from the film, and I write a post, and then I share it around. And I also do that with YouTube videos, but I mainly do that. And on my Instagram page, it's just filled with all kinds of movie reviews, along with the predominantly it's just all the thumbnails and the text. That's really all it is. And apparently, I've looked into it somehow, or someone apparently flagged, and that's the impression I get, that some people or folks or a party got offended by something that I posted, and which is completely absurd and completely asinine. If that's the case, I don't know for sure, but if that's the case, and that I somehow through my post violated community standards, and I'm aware that this happens to a lot of people, and people get flagged, or people do this or that, and I'm aware of people who get their accounts shut down because of certain things. Obviously, people who do things that are outwardly offensive, but then people who who are content creators, where they're talking about movies, or it happens a lot with people who are in the sex industry too. People who do fetish work. But my page is strictly a movie page. It's pure entertainment, so I don't understand it. But anyway, I've been trying to figure it out, and I've kind of given up, even though I need to get it put up. I need to figure it out, or just start a new page. I really like that page. I would hate for it to go. I'm proud of that page. There's a lot of good things on there, I feel. So it's kind of annoying, and it is what it is. But I'm trying to eventually figure out what the hell I'm going to do about it. The other thing too is I used to always post my clips on this channel on YouTube. From my YouTube, from this channel, I used to always post these videos on Facebook, on my various pages, and it has helped. It's helped definitely generate lots of interest in this channel and getting likes and hits and comments. But and it has this ebb and flow. And I used to post pretty regularly. But what I find now is I post every now and then. I find now it doesn't really get any traction anymore. And I realize it's this weird thing where if you post too much, obviously it's not gonna come up in people's feeds anymore. And I understand that. And I don't always do that. I kind of break it up. But I realize overall, when I'm posting these videos on my Facebook page, particularly on my personal page, and on even on my Film Fanatic page, they seem to go over like a fart in church. It seems like kind of a waste of time. And doing those videos and sharing that stuff actually takes up a lot of time, and it's actually a lot of work. So I'm kind of like taking a break from doing those posts. It's kind of this game where you got to like get with the algorithm and post it at a certain time and not post too much. And I'm just kind of, and I realize maybe I'm ignorant, but I'm just kind of tired of that little bit of it's become kind of a rat race. So I'm kind of tired of that. And so I will eventually do more of those things again. But right now I'm just concentrating on just doing these videos, putting them up, and it is what it is. I still love doing it. I love doing it more and more. That's not going to change, and I'm going to still post videos. And the one thing too I've been doing is like setting these videos to premiere, so kind of breaking up the timing of when these videos come up. So I'm just making some new changes, but it's still going to be happening. So that being said, I got this incredible movie from my buddy Mike from a late birthday present. My birthday was last weekend, and that is Michael Dudikoff, Avenging Force. And holy shit, this movie is the cat's meow. It's the golden ticket right here. It kind of does not get any better than this. I watched this last night. This came out in 1986. This was directed by the legendary Sam Furstenberg. Incredible cast. Michael Dudikoff, a legend in the world of really shitty kind of exploitation action movies. Steve James, another legend in a lot of these films. He unfortunately passed away a few years back. James Booth. So many great character actors in this film. Allison Guarantee, John Ryan, a real pretty iconic, pretty big name and iconic actor back in the day. Carl Johnson and Robert Taylor. And this came out in 1986. And it's a Canon production. This is a really amazingly beautiful. This is a beautiful version of this film. I mean, look at that artwork. I mean, it does not get any better than that. This movie is uber violent too. I have never seen this movie. I might have seen this when I was a kid. I grew up watching Canon films. Canon was the company that produced this film, and Sam Furstenberg was in the world of action, kind of exploitation movies in the early '80s, early to mid '80s. He directed like I think close to like 30 to 50 different films, and he directed pretty much almost all of the Canon films. And Canon was this like independent company that became really big, but they made all kinds of action movies. They made all kinds of martial arts, especially the ninja genre. They made so many amazing ninja films starring the iconic Sho And when I think of Canon films, I think of Sho Kosugi being probably one of the most popular actors, one of the greatest action stars, and Michael Dudikoff also being up there too. I mean, these guys were legends, and Michael Dudikoff also did all kinds of ninja and martial arts movies. Most famous, and I recently bought it a couple months ago, American Ninja, which was, I think they made three or four of those movies. And that movie's just a masterpiece. I bought that recently. Canon had this whole thing of where they pumped out so many movies during that decade. They made a pretty good amount of money, but then they really, a lot of their things, a lot of their films kind of tanked and they kind of died a horrible death. But they really, at one point, were riding this wave, milking this action exploitation thing to death. Um, but I was raised. I watched so many of these movies when I was a little kid. I was like 5 or 10 years old when I was about. Well, this came out when I was 10 years old, so I was a little kid when all of these movies came out. I have quite a few of the canon movies now. Well, I need to buy all of them because they're all just amazing. I have a few of them. I have a few the ninja films. I have a couple other films, but you just can't go wrong. Canon just ruled. I heard that there's a really great documentary that came out a few years back about Canon that is supposed to be really, really good, and I have not seen it. It's on my radar. Eventually, I will track it down. But just extraordinary. Definitely, I feel like when it comes to like uber low budget exploitation action movies, you can't get any better. I mean, these movies truly are so terrible, but they're just so amazing at the same time. This movie is this movie is amazing. Like I probably did see this when I was a kid, but I didn't really remember it. And I watched it last night after buying it, or after getting it as a gift from my buddy Mike, and I was just blown away by it. There's so much great action. Um, there's Sam Furstenberg, the director's like because again he made so many films. There's a really great interview with him on the Blu-ray where he talks about that he considers Avenging Force to be his best film. He feels like the production of it was the best. The action sequences, the level of the writing, the acting, the actors, the cast, all across the board. He felt like it's his best film that he ever directed, and best film he was ever involved in. He directed, again, a ton of movies during this decade, and I don't know, this might be the best one he's ever done. I think he's kind of nails it when he says that. I mean, uh, this movie is so damn entertaining. There's so much action, incredible action sequences. It's so cheesy and terrible and just amazing, and it's actually pretty dark. Like the villains, which is kind of this um, crime syndicate, shadowy kind of conspiracy group, the Fandango. They commit these crimes in this movie that are really brutal, like killing basically women and children. They're like these, and they're all like these racist, assholes. And yeah, I mean, and I think that this movie could not be made today because it is not politically correct in any way, shape, or form, which I think is just amazing. It's I think it's a masterpiece for what it is. I think it's a it's so on so many levels just kicks ass. It's so entertaining. There's a really great interview with Michael Dudikoff at the end of the movie on the special features side of things on this movie, on this disc. Really great, really cool interview. And he, he had an amazing career at that point. I mean, I always forget too because I've seen interviews with him before, and I have American Ninja on Blu-ray, which is, again, it's a masterpiece. Um, there's a really great interview on there. There's probably even more special features on that disc than there is with this one, but this is really good. And I always forget that Michael Dudikoff started off as a model for a few years before he became an action star, and he really it really propelled his career when he was a model, and he did all kinds of ads for different magazines and different worked for different companies. Really funny and really kind of hilarious. But he became this kind of mega star, during this time period. He did so many movies. Um, and he, was the American Ninja franchise was probably the biggest franchise. He did all of these other movies, all Canon Productions. Um, Sam Fistenberg directed all of them, and yeah, I mean it was a truly a magical time, really, for action movies. And again, when I watch these movies, movies that were definitely products of my youth, and again, they're super old at this point, like I am, and they are incredibly dated. But it's so funny how I feel like watching them now. I almost enjoy them more now. Like it's it says something for me about me, I guess. But I actually enjoy them more now, and they're even more entertaining now than when I remember seeing a lot of these kids. Than when I saw a lot of these films when I was a kid. Another canon movie that is, for me, one of the most enjoyable films is Ninja 3: The Domination, and a Sho Kusugi film, and that was a movie that was so, I guess, important to me when I was a kid. I used to watch that movie obsessively as it rented on VHS, and that was a magical period, and I have that now on Blu-ray, and I just freaking love that movie so much. But that is, those movies, and Canon itself as a film company was a magical period. It was, kind of an age or birth of witnessing this entire kind of genre, of filmmaking. And they truly don't make them like they used to. This is a Avenging Force in particular is a prime time example of that. They don't make these films like this anymore. Everything now is a little too serious. So, thanks again. I highly recommend checking out any of the Canon catalogs. They pretty much have reissued and put out all of their films on Blu-ray or 4K. They're actually really easy to find. I've been coming across so many of them. It's wild. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.